What's good, y'all? Welcome back to another video. In today's video, we are going to be watching the worst zoo deaths ever. Now, I've already reacted to a pretty similar video by the same guy. I think it's literally titled the same thing. But this is a different video, so think about this as part 2, practically. So, yeah, if you want to go watch part 1 on my channel, it's up here in the little time cards or whatever. Or if you want to go watch it on his channel, obviously feel free to watch this original video and his other video. So, and just this guy's channel. I love this guy's videos. They're very interesting and fun to watch. So yeah, shout out to this guy. Anyway, let's just get straight into it.
Tatiana the tiger.
Tatiana,
a female Siberian tiger, was once a peaceful animal, but that changed in 2006 after she attacked a zookeeper who was feeding her that year, leaving the woman with a permanently scarred arm. An even worse attack happened in 2007. On Christmas Day,
wait, the same tiger? Wait, a year apart? Jesus.
after closing time, Tatiana escaped from her enclosure. That day, 3 young men, 17-year-old Carlos Sousa Jr. and brothers Amrit and Kulbir Dhaliwal, aged 19 and 23, had been seen shouting at animals and throwing things. At some point, Tatiana managed to climb or leap out of her grotto. Investigators later discovered that the moat wall was only 12.5 feet high, even though the recommended minimum for tigers was around 16 feet. Concrete chips found in her paws.
Wait, what? Bro, that's not a super big height difference. But I guess, obviously they know how high a wall needs to be so a tiger can't jump over it. That's insane. That's scary as fuck.
Was around 16 feet. Concrete chips found in her paws suggested she had scrambled and pushed her way up the wall to get out.
And no one saw this? What was this, in the middle of the day? Probably not.
Free, she went straight for the group, and Carlos Sousa was her first victim. She mauled him
with well, if they were being so this tiger must have known these guys are being dickheads to all of my animal friends, I guess. I don't know. And she just got pissed off, and she was like, you're not doing that. I'm gonna kill you.
Brutal force, leaving him
That's just karma, bro. That's just karma.
And spine fractures, many bite and claw wounds, and a severed jugular vein. He died on the spot.
Wow.
The Dhaliwal brothers ran for their lives, bleeding from their wounds until they reached the nearby locked zoo cafe. The tiger was behind them, and they screamed for help until finally a worker inside the cafe called emergency services. At first, the worker...
This is like in the middle of the day. No one saw the tiger try to climb out. What are we doing?
Thought the person screaming outside was just mentally unstable and that there was no real animal attack. He told emergency services exactly that when he called. This, paired with the fact that later on zoo security guards were enforcing a lockdown to prevent Tatiana from escaping the zoo grounds, caused the emergency response to be delayed. When police and armed zoo staff finally arrived, Tatiana was standing over one of the injured brothers. Officers hesitated to fire because they feared hitting him, so they distracted the tiger. And when she turned toward them, they opened fire, killing her with a shot to the head. Both brothers were rushed to the hospital with deep injuries to their arms, necks, and heads. But they survived, unlike Carlos, unfortunately. In the days after...
yes, unfortunately, because, people dying, and they were just throwing stuff at the animals. But it's like, bro, what are you doing? Y'all being dickheads, throwing shit at animals? Fuck you. I'm sorry.
San Francisco Zoo admitted that the moat wall had been far too low and below safety standards. St. James Davis.
Wow.
St. James...
Oh, monkey. Oh, God. Okay.
NASCAR pilot and his wife LaDonna.
Bro, I know this is super off topic. Have y'all seen Nope? That movie, Nope, by Jordan Peele. The monkey scene in that movie is, holy shit. It's scarring to watch that monkey scene from Nope. It is insane. Just go look up Nope monkey scene. Just watch it, dude.
They adopted him after poachers killed his mother in Tanzania. And since they couldn't have children, they treated him like one of their own. He wore clothes, ate at the dinner table, and even took part in their wedding ceremony. Years earlier, after a long and painful legal fight because Mo bit a police officer and a visitor, he had been taken away from them, but they still visited him often, bringing his favorite food and toys. That day in March 2005, they brought cake, candy hearts, and chocolate.
There's a reason why they took your monkey away from you, dude. Like, I get it, you love this monkey, I understand it, but you can love the monkey. But, like, there's a point where y'all have to be like, okay, we can't treat him how we were treating him when he was a baby because we can't. He's gonna change. His inner animal is gonna come out and he's gonna kill us. It's just how it is, man,
the
unfortunately.
ranch where Mo was. As soon as he saw them, he started clapping and smiling. But then, in seconds, something unexpected happened. As LaDonna leaned over to cut a piece of cake, she saw something moving quickly from the corner of her eye.
What?
A chimpanzee, not Mo, but another young male named Buddy, had escaped from his cage. Before she could react, the chimp jumped at her and bit off her thumb. St.
Oh my god.
James pushed her under the picnic table to protect her, but then another chimp, Ollie, also got out. The two animals attacked together with terrifying strength. They jumped on St. James and tore at his face, hands and feet. They ripped away his skin and flesh until he was left unrecognizable.
I thought their monkey friend was gonna kill him. Never mind. Oh, okay.
The ranch owner's
Still
son-in-law.
though, it still stands. You can have a pet monkey, fine, for a certain period of time, but what are we doing? You just gotta be careful, man.
Heard the screams, grabbed a revolver, and ran toward the noise. When he arrived, he saw the chimps attacking.
Wow.
He shot Buddy first, then chased Ollie, who was dragging St. James's badly injured body down a
God.
walkway. He fired again, killing Ollie too. He rushed toward St. James, who was lying on the ground, barely alive. Paramedics said it looked more like a grizzly bear attack than one by a chimpanzee. St. James had lost almost everything. His fingers, his left foot, much of his face, his nose.
His left foot. Did they rip it off? Did they bite it off? What? Dude, monkeys are just fucking crazy, dude.
Lips, and even his
Lips.
LaDonna's hand.
He was alive? It's so funny, dude. I'm like, oh, his hand's gone, his finger's gone, his face is all messed up. And I'm like, oh, that's crazy. The moment they mentioned his balls are gone, I was like, oh, how is he alive? He must have died, right? I mean, this is obviously the most zoo deaths ever, or the worst zoo deaths ever, Jesus. So he died.
Covered in blood, and her thumb was gone. She could only watch while rescuers tried to keep her husband alive. He was flown by helicopter to the hospital.
Wow, he saved his wife's life, though. That's awesome.
Where he stayed for 6 months. For part of that time,
What?
he was in a coma. Over
What?
the next 4 years, he went through more than 60 surgeries.
Oh,
Doctors rebuilt
my God.
his face as best they could. He had one prosthetic eye and 2 small slits where his nose used to be. St. James survived, but his injuries left him permanently disfigured. However, their love for Mo didn't fade. They went back to court to make sure the city kept its promise to build a home where they could live with him again. And in their front yard, they even put up a sign that said, "Free Mo." However, in 2008, Mo disappeared from his new home and was never found. Some people said he escaped into the mountains, while
What?
others believed he might have been killed in the wild. Years later, tragedy struck again. St. James died in 2018 after suffering a stroke, and LaDonna, now alone, became a victim of financial abuse and lost much of what they had built together. While St. James's
Dang.
death wasn't directly caused by what happened at the ranch, it's fair to imagine it played a role, and the story was just too incredible not to include in this video. Jia Lijun and
Okay, so he didn't die from the monkeys. Well, he did, because I think the stroke was caused by that attack, but he didn't directly die from the monkeys. That was an insane story, though. Wow, dude.
In May 2016, Jia Lijun, a Chinese businessman, was visiting Shishiaku Wildlife Park. He stopped at the walrus enclosure and
Wait,
started...
I didn't clock that until now. A walrus. I've never heard of a walrus killing someone. This is going to be interesting. Not that they can't kill someone, obviously, because they're huge animals, you know, but
at the walrus enclosure and started taking selfies and videos
I
of the
just
animal.
never-
The walrus was huge, weighing about 1.6 tons. However,
what the fuck? What? Tons? What? How big can walruses be? This big. I'm 6 foot. They can't be that big. Well, if I stand up right now, walruses aren't at my shoulders, dude. There's no way they're that big. But if it's 1.6 ton... Hold on. Nope. Wait. I'm gonna look it up. This is absurd if this is actually real. How big can walruses be? Up to 12 feet in length, 4,000 pounds, 2 tons. 4,000 pounds. Oh my God, dude. I don't know why I didn't think, okay, yeah, see, I'm right. They're not that fucking tall, right? I mean, shit though, look at that. Holy fuck. They're slow though. Is that real? That's not real. No. Is that real? No, this is fake. This is fucking fake. Larger than the largest elephant seals of today. That's how they used to look. That's a fucking tank of an animal. Anyway, I guess that makes sense that they weigh that much. Now if I'm actually looking at them, like they're just a slab of meat. But wow, okay.
only moments later,
4,000 pounds. Dude.
the animal turned deadly.
Up to 4,000 pounds.
Witnesses said the walrus suddenly grabbed Gia from behind, and at first, many people watching thought the animal was just playing. But the walrus was so big and powerful that once it held on, Gia had no control. It dragged him into the pool, clung tightly to him, and swung him around while pushing him under the water. Things got worse when Duan, the walrus's longtime trainer, jumped in to help. Duan had raised the walrus since it was a baby and had cared for it for more than 10 years. He was considered the closest person to the animal.
How long can walruses live for? Clearly 10 years plus.
As soon as the walrus saw him in the water, it rushed toward him as well. Instead of letting go of Gia, it wrapped itself around both men, holding them tightly. Even though Duan was a
What? I feel like their arms aren't... I don't know. That's crazy.
strong swimmer, the walrus's enormous weight kept them trapped underwater. The animal continued to squeeze and push them down. By the time staff and visitors realized it wasn't playing anymore, it was already too late. Both Gia and Duan drowned inside the pool.
Oh
Maksud and Vijay.
my god.
In September 2014, a 20-year-old man named Maksud, who was said to have some mental health struggles, got into the enclosure of a white tiger named Vijay.
Some mental health struggle. So did y'all not think he was gonna maybe climb in there? I guess not. I guess not.
That day, visitors had been throwing stones and shouting at the tiger. Nonetheless, videos
Why,
from the
man?
scene show the tiger at first looking calm, even curious, as Maksud sat in the enclosure below. For several minutes, the tiger did not attack, but the crowd above kept screaming, and the noise created chaos. The loud shouting agitated the tiger, and eventually it snapped. Vijay suddenly lunged at
my
Maksud,
gosh.
grabbed him by the neck, and dragged him across the floor of the
he's
enclosure.
dead.
Witnesses were horrified,
Oh,
and some
man.
begged the zoo staff to do something, but there were no tranquilizer guns or emergency plans ready. Guards yelled at the crowd to calm down.
What are we doing here, dude? Okay.
Many people were too shocked. The tiger kept its grip on Maksud, and within minutes the young man was dead. His injuries were so bad that he died inside the enclosure before anyone could reach him. Only one guard had been stationed near the enclosure, and he admitted that his main duty was to control the crowd, not to deal with emergencies inside the exhibit. Sarah McClay. On a normal afternoon,
Dang. That's crazy. I feel like it should be both. I mean, I don't know. I don't know.
visitors were watching the tigers being fed when suddenly they heard a loud scream coming from the tiger house. Inside was 24-year-old keeper Sarah McClay, and a tiger named Padang had somehow managed to get through several doors that were meant to keep people and animals safely apart. It immediately jumped on Sarah, and its strength and speed left her with terrible injuries to her head and neck. By the time her co-workers ran toward the noise, Sarah was basically unrecognizable, and they flew her by helicopter to the hospital, but her wounds were described as unsurvivable. She died later that same day. After her death, investigators saw that the safety systems of the doors had failed. For example, the bolt on the door to the dark den was faulty. It couldn't close properly and would bounce off the frame, leaving a small but dangerous gap of about 0.78 inches. When the official investigation was held in 2014,
so that's enough for the tiger to like fucking get his hands in there. I don't know, just claw in there.
Exactly how Sarah ended up in the same space as the tiger, but they confirmed that the broken bolt played a major role in the accident. Kelly Ann Walls.
A bear. Oh god, here we go.
Kelly Ann Walls had cleaned her bear's cage hundreds of times before, but one day, something was different. When she went into the 15 by 15 foot enclosure where she kept her black bear, a 350-pound animal she had raised from a cub and named Teddy, she threw some dog food to one side of the cage to distract him and clean the other side. She had done this every day for 9 years, but this time, Teddy suddenly attacked her and started mauling her. The bear, much taller and more than twice her weight.
See, that's what I'm saying, bro. You do this. This is an abnormal thing to do, bro. Like, I don't care if you're a zookeeper. I don't give a fuck. The fact that every day for 9 years you would throw food on the other side of you, like on the other side of the enclosure, and the bear would just walk over there, that's crazy you're doing that. I would be scared stepping into a bear enclosure every fucking day. But I guess I wouldn't if it was just an everyday occurrence for me for 9 years. It's just crazy, bro. She didn't even think that would probably ever happen because, again, if he did that every day, it's like, well, it's never going to attack me.
Overpowered Kelly almost immediately. Her 2 young children, along with the neighbor's children,
oh my god,
saw what was happening and screamed for help. The neighbor grabbed his gun and ran to the cage. When he arrived, the bear was on top of Kelly. He said the animal started to move away from her body and began walking toward him, and at that moment, he fired his gun. The shots killed Teddy, but Kelly was already dead. Her injuries were so bad that she was pronounced dead directly at the scene. Officials from the Pennsylvania Game Commission later explained that wild animal cages usually have 2 separate sections. This lets owners lock the animal on one side while cleaning the other. Kelly's cage didn't have that setup, or if it did, it wasn't used that day. If you want to discuss this video or suggest an idea for the next one, join my Discord. Link.
Holy shit, dude. Again, shout out to this guy. He makes great videos. Some of these stories, man. A lot of it's just failing. Like the zoo enclosure for the animals just fail and they just die. Like, or people are just dumb, you know, and they just hop in there. But you can take the animal out of the wild, but you can't take the wild out of the animal. Facts. It's facts. New fear unlocked. Death by walrus. Seriously, I expected tigers and bears, but a walrus? Dude, I wonder how much walrus death there's been. That's the only time I've heard that. And it's like, the walrus killed them, but it drowned them. So the walrus didn't like bite them or squish them. It just drowned them. That's crazy. Anyway though, y'all, that was today's video. And if you liked it, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. You already know what to do. And you have a good day. I love y'all, and peace.
Two shawty's getting live in the hatchback. Ass up, world star with the clapback. Young man with a plan, it's the campaign. Mommy wants some rosé, no champagne.